I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here, writing about the worst thing that ever happened to me. But life throws curveballs, and I guess I'm just trying to make sense of how I got here. My name's Mike, and I've been married to Lisa for about 5 years now. We met in college, high school sweethearts, the kind of couple everyone thought would last forever. She was beautiful, blonde, sharp-tongued, with a smile that could cut through steel. I thought she was perfect, and honestly I still do, except for one thing that's been eating me up inside lately. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. She'd get irritable for no reason, snap at me over little things, and started staying out late more often. I'd ask what was wrong and she'd brush it off, call me paranoid or insecure. She'd say I was overreacting, that she was just busy with work or friends. But I wasn't blind. I noticed she was acting different around the time I started going to a new recovery group for my drinking. I'd been struggling with it for a while and finally decided to get some help. Lisa seemed supportive at first, even went to a few meetings with me, but things changed. My wife, Lisa, is a real piece of work when she wants to be. She's bitchy, manipulative, and loves to lie her way out of anything. The thing is, I never suspected she'd cheat on me. Not in a million years, but I guess that's what makes it so damn hard to accept now. She's always been the type to talk crap about others behind their backs, yet here I was, feeling like an idiot for not seeing what was right in front of me. I kept telling myself I was paranoid, that maybe I was just overthinking everything. But then I started noticing little things, calls late at night when she thought I wasn't looking, her phone disappearing, strange texts she'd delete before I could see. It's like she was actively hiding something. Then last weekend, I decided to go through her phone. I know, trust but verify, right? Well, I didn't want to believe it, but when I looked, I found a string of messages between her and someone named Jake. At first, I thought it was just a friend, maybe an old college buddy or something. But then I saw the tone of the messages, how they kept slipping into flirty territory, talking about meeting up, how she was so tired of pretending, and about how Jake made her feel alive again. My stomach dropped. I saw how they'd been messaging for a few weeks, probably longer. This wasn't just some innocent exchange. This was something else, something that made my blood boil. What killed me most was the timing. The messages started right after I'd been to my last couple of meetings. She knew I was trying to get better, and instead of supporting me, she was out here cheating on me with my damn counselor's help. It's like she used my recovery as a cover, as if she knew I was vulnerable and took advantage of that. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. I couldn't believe the woman I married was capable of this level of betrayal. I spent the night staring at the phone, feeling numb and furious all at once. I kept thinking about all those nights I thought she was just busy or tired. Turns out she was screwing around, literally, with someone I trusted. I didn't sleep. Instead, I kept going over everything in my head, trying to figure out what I was supposed to do now. How did I miss all the signs? How could she lie so convincingly? And most of all, how do I even confront her without losing my mind? I knew I couldn't keep this bottled up, but I also knew that once I opened the door to her lies, there was no going back. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a freight train. My head was pounding, and the anger was simmering just beneath the surface, ready to explode. I didn't want to confront her right away. I needed to get my head straight first. But I knew I couldn't keep hiding from it either. I needed to face the truth. So I took a deep breath, got out of bed, and decided I'd confront her that evening. Before that, I needed to gather my thoughts, maybe even do some digging. I wanted to understand just how deep this went. I started by going through her phone again, just to make sure I hadn't missed anything. I found more messages, long conversations, photos she'd sent Jake, even a few explicit texts. My stomach twisted. She'd been lying to me for weeks, maybe longer. She'd been sneaking around, pretending everything was perfect, while she was out there screwing around with my counselor. That's when it hit me like a punch in the gut. She had used my trust, my honesty, my vulnerability against me. I needed to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to scream, to throw her out, to cut her out of my life completely. But I also felt a strange sense of clarity. This was about more than just cheating. It was about respect, integrity, and whether I could even trust her again after this. I sat there staring at her messages, rage and heartbreak battling inside me. How could she be so selfish? So manipulative? She's always been the bitchy type, never the one to take responsibility. She's the queen of lies, and now I was the fool who didn't see it coming. When she came home that evening, I was already sitting on the couch, her phone in my hand. She walked in acting all innocent, like she didn't have a care in the world. I looked up at her and said, "Lisa, we need to talk now." Her eyes widened, and for a split second I saw that bitchy smirk flicker across her face, like she thought she could gaslight her way out of this. But I wasn't in the mood to play her games anymore. I held up her phone and said, "Who is Jake, and why are you texting him all this stuff?" She froze, her face twisting into something between anger and shock. "What are you talking about? That's private," she snapped, trying to snatch her phone away. But I held it tight. "No. I think I've seen enough. You've been lying, Lisa. You've been cheating on me, and I want the truth. Don't lie to me now." Her voice got bitchy and defensive. "Oh, so now you're accusing me. You've been acting weird too, Mr. Alcoholic. Maybe I've got my reasons. Maybe I've been stressed, or maybe I just needed someone who actually cares about me. You're never around anyway." Her words stung, but I kept my cool. "You're lying, Lisa. I know what I saw. This isn't stress, this is betrayal. You've been screwing around with my counselor, Jake, while I was trying to get sober, trying to fix my life. How could you do that after everything we've been through?" She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Please, you think I cheated because I'm unhappy? You think I bother wasting my time on some loser like Jake if I was really unhappy? You're paranoid. You're the one with the problem, not me." That's when I lost it. The anger exploded out of me, hotter than I've ever felt. I yelled at her, told her how she's a manipulative bitch who's always lied to my face, who's used my trust to get her kicks. I told her I didn't want her lying anymore, that I was done being played like a fool. I told her she's lucky I didn't throw her out right then and there. But I knew something inside me had snapped. This wasn't just about cheating. It was about respect, about ending the cycle of lies she's been feeding me. She looked at me with that bitchy smirk, like she thought she'd won. But I knew better. I knew she was cornered, and she didn't like it. The fight was far from over, and I wasn't sure how much of my marriage was left after this. All I knew was that I'd finally seen the truth, and there was no going back. I was hurt, furious, and sick of her bullshit. Nothing would be the same after this. After that confrontation, the house felt colder, emptier. Lisa kept trying to deny everything, but I wasn't buying it anymore. Her bitchy attitude only made me more convinced she was lying through her teeth. She threw out these quick, bitter responses, insisting I was jealous or imagining things, but I knew better. I had proof now, and her words weren't convincing anyone, least of all me. I felt like I'd just been punched in the gut repeatedly. The trust was shattered, and I wasn't sure if I could ever get it back. I spent the next couple of days in a daze. Every little thing about her started to set me off. The way she looked at her phone, the way she snapped at me when I asked questions. I was angry, but deep down I was also devastated. How could she do this? How could she betray me like that, right when I was trying to get better? It was like she saw my weakness as an opening, a chance to get her own selfish kicks. The more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't just a fling. She'd been sneaking around, lying, manipulating, all while I was vulnerable and trying to fix myself. One night, I finally decided I couldn't just sit around stewing. I had to do something. I sat her down again, just to get everything out in the open, knowing it'd be messy. I told her I wasn't playing her game anymore, that I'd found her messages, her lies, her whole plan. I told her I was done pretending that I didn't know what she'd been doing, and that's when it all came crashing down for her. Her face twisted into that nasty smirk again, like she thought she could talk her way out of it. "Mike, you're overreacting. You're just insecure. You're jealous. You always think the worst," she said, trying to minimize everything. She even threw in the classic, "You're just mad because I don't want to be with someone who's always drunk or angry all the time." That really pissed me off. I was sick of her excuses. I told her she was a liar, a user, and that I was done with her bullshit. She started crying, fake tears, of course, she's good at that. Always the victim, never the villain. She begged, said she loved me, that she'd never cheat again, but I could see right through her. Her tears were just a cover, a way to manipulate me into feeling guilty. I knew I'd been played for a fool, and I was sick of it. I finally told her to get out of the house. She stormed out, calling me all sorts of names, controlling, paranoid, jealous. But none of that mattered anymore. I felt numb, angry, betrayed. I kept staring at her stuff, her phone, her clothes. It was all so surreal. How did I let someone like her get away with this? How did I not see it coming? I'd always thought she was stronger, smarter, better than this. Turns out she was just another selfish bitch who used me because she could. By the time she left, I was left alone in the house, staring at the empty space where she'd been. That's when the real sadness hit me. I started crying, not because I still loved her, but because I felt stupid for trusting her in the first place. I wondered how I'd let someone manipulate me so easily. I also felt a deep sense of relief. Finally, I knew what was really going on and I could start figuring out how to move on. But that didn't mean it was easy. Not at all. The aftermath is still sinking in. I've told a few close friends and they're angry for me, saying I deserve better. I want to believe that, but right now I just feel broken. I don't know what's worse, finding out your wife cheated on you or realizing you were blind to it for so long. All I know is I'm done. No more lies, no more pretending. The trust is gone, and honestly, I don't know if I'll ever get it back. But one thing's clear, I'm not going to let her destroy me. Not anymore. After she left, I spent hours just sitting in the silence of the house. It was like a ghost town in my mind. I kept replaying everything she said, everything she did, trying to find some way to make sense of it all. But there was no making sense of it, just a huge, aching emptiness. Part of me wanted to reach out, scream at her, demand she come back and fix this mess. But deep down, I knew that wasn't the answer. She betrayed me so badly that I couldn't just forgive and forget, not this time. I started thinking about what I needed to do next. Honestly, I always thought I was the strong one in this marriage, but right now, I felt like I was crumbling inside. How do you even get over something like this? How do you look at someone who was supposed to be your partner and realize they've been lying, cheating, manipulative? I didn't want to be angry forever, but right now, that's all I felt. Pure, unfiltered rage. Not just for her cheating, but for the way she'd lied about everything. About her feelings, about her loyalty, about who she really was. That night, I decided to confront her one last time. Not to beg, not to plead, but just to tell her how I really felt. I wanted her to know that her actions had shattered me, that her lies had broken any chance I had at trusting her again. I called her phone, but she didn't answer. I left a voicemail telling her that I never wanted to see her again, that I didn't want to hear her lies anymore. I didn't care what she said or how she tried to manipulate me. The damage was done, and I was finally done with her games. Over the next few days, I threw myself into cleaning out our house, getting rid of her stuff and blocking her on social media. I couldn't bear to see her face, hear her voice, or even know she was out there living her life while I was left picking up the pieces. I started going to therapy, trying to understand how I'd let myself get so hurt, how I'd trusted her so blindly, and how I could rebuild from this. It's a long road, no doubt about it, but I knew I had to start somewhere. In all of this, I realized I'd been giving her more power than she deserved. I was the one who'd always tried to keep the peace, to ignore the red flags, to pretend everything was fine. And now I was paying the price. So I made a vow to myself. I'd never let someone manipulate me again. I'd learn to trust again, but only after I'd healed and learned how to spot a liar from a mile away. The hardest part is accepting that I might never get closure, that I have to find my own peace without her. One thing I learned through all this is that people can surprise you in the worst ways. I always thought Lisa was strong, confident, maybe a little bitchy, but I never thought she'd do something so cruel. It's a wake-up call. I can't control her actions, but I can control how I react. I refuse to let her define me or destroy my sense of self-worth. I still have my dignity, my pride, and my strength. It's just buried under a lot of pain right now, but I'll get through it. I have to. Honestly, I don't know what I'll do about the marriage, if anything. Part of me still hopes maybe she'll come back and apologize, but I know better. She's not the type to admit she's wrong. And honestly, I don't think I want her to. At least not right now. I need to focus on myself, on healing, on figuring out what's next. It's weird. After all this chaos, I feel like I've been given a chance to start over. Not with her, but for myself. The betrayal was a punch in the gut, no doubt, but it's also made me realize I deserve better than someone who can lie and cheat and then try to gaslight me into thinking I'm crazy. So that's where I'm at. Still hurting, still angry, but slowly beginning to accept that some things are lost, and I need to rebuild from the ground up. It's gonna take time, but I'm starting to see a way forward. Just wish me luck. It's been a few weeks since she moved out, and honestly, I've felt every emotion under the sun. Some days I wake up angry, some days I feel numb, and others I just want to scream at the top of my lungs. The worst part is that I keep replaying everything in my mind, every moment I missed, every lie I didn't catch, every sign I ignored. I keep asking myself how I let it get this far, how I was so blind to her manipulations. It's like I've been watching my life from outside, trying to piece it all together while feeling like I was losing my mind. The thing is, I knew I had to do something to move forward, even if I wasn't sure what that was yet. I started focusing on myself, going to therapy more often, hitting the gym, reconnecting with friends who'd been there from the start. I realized I'd been so caught up in the marriage and her drama that I'd forgotten who I was. Now, I'm trying to rebuild that. I'm trying to find my footing again, piece by piece. It's not easy. Every day is like a battle between wanting to forget and needing to remember. Remembering what she did, how she lied, how she manipulated my trust. One day, I finally sat down and thought about what I really wanted. Did I want to try to fix this mess? Did I want to get her back? Honestly, I don't. I don't see how I could, not after everything. I've come to realize that some betrayals cut so deep that there's no going back. I've also accepted that I deserve better, someone who doesn't lie, cheat, and lie some more. I've started looking at dating again, just casually, trying to remember what it's like to connect with someone without all the bullshit. But even as I move forward, I can't shake the feeling that I've lost something precious. That trust I once had, that naive belief that my wife was everything I thought she was. That belief was shattered, and now I've got to rebuild my faith in myself and in others. I've learned the hard way that sometimes people show you who they really are when it's too late, and that's a lesson I won't forget. In the process of healing, I've also become more aware of what I need from a partner: honesty, respect, loyalty. I've realized I shouldn't settle for anything less. I've been so focused on fixing her, on trying to save the marriage, that I forgot about my own happiness. Now I'm trying to prioritize myself. That doesn't mean I'm bitter or broken, just cautious. I want love, but I want it with someone who won't betray me like Lisa did. I want trust, kindness, someone who actually cares about me. The funny thing is, even after all this heartbreak, I've started to see a new light. I'm not the same guy I was before. The pain has changed me, made me more cautious but also more aware. I know now that I have what it takes to survive this kind of betrayal. It hurts, and it'll probably hurt for a long time, but I refuse to let her define my future. I want to believe I'll come out stronger on the other side, that someday I'll look back and realize this was just a chapter, not the whole story. So I'll keep going, keep healing, keep moving forward, and keep reminding myself that I deserve better. Maybe one day I'll find someone who's worth my trust, someone who won't betray me. Until then, I'll hold on to what I have myself and try to learn from this nightmare. Because if there's one thing this mess has taught me, it's that even when everything falls apart, you can still pick up the pieces and build something new, stronger, better, wiser. And I'm determined to do just that. Looking back now, I realize that this whole nightmare has changed me in ways I never expected. I used to believe in the fairy tale version of marriage: trust, loyalty, forever. But life, as I've learned, doesn't always follow the script. Sometimes the truth hits you like a freight train, and all you can do is pick up the pieces and try to move on. I've learned that betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches you how to be stronger, more cautious about who you let into your life. Losing Lisa was a gut punch, no doubt. It shattered my sense of security and trust. But in the process, I've discovered something even more valuable: myself. I've found resilience I didn't know I had, and I've learned to listen to my gut more. I refuse to be anyone's fool again, and I refuse to let her lies define me. Instead, I focus on rebuilding, piece by piece, on creating a life where honesty and respect aren't just words but the foundation. I still feel the pain from time to time, especially when I remember the good moments, the plans we made, the dreams we shared. But I also know now that those memories don't have to define everything. I can carve out my own future, one where I trust again, but more wisely. It's about taking control of my life, not letting someone else's betrayals derail me entirely. The biggest lesson I take away from all this is that betrayal isn't the end. It's a brutal wake-up call, but also a chance for growth. I've learned to value myself more, to stand up for what I deserve, and to never ignore the red flags again. Her cheating, her lies, they hurt like hell, but in the end, they set me free from a relationship built on deception. Now, I look at the future with a cautious optimism. I may never fully forget what happened, but I can forgive myself for trusting her in the first place. I can forgive her for being who she was, even if I can't forgive her for what she did. And most importantly, I can move forward knowing that I'm better off without someone who would betray me so thoroughly. So this is my story, raw and real. If you're going through something similar, I want you to know it's okay to feel shattered, to feel angry, to feel lost. But don't let it break you completely. There's a life beyond betrayal. It takes time, it takes effort, but eventually you'll find your way back. Trust me, I'm still on that journey, but I'm confident now that I will come out the other side stronger and more aware than ever before. Because that's what betrayal does. It forces you to confront yourself, and in that confrontation, you find your resilience.